Hi there, my name is Nikki Johnson, and as I was thinking about this exercise on social justice, I thought about my father's side of the family who are Native American, part of the Cherokee Indian Nation in North Carolina. And it prompted me to look at a couple of studies that emphasized how disconnected those populations are from receiving care. Sometimes there's access to care is a problem, but there's also a larger stigma and disproportionate amount of mental health types of issues in those communities. And so it's a real act of courage for someone to step forward. And sometimes we're the only representation that that person will ever see from a different culture. So to me, it's very important that the level of cultural humility and awareness be top of mind. So as I was thinking about how important it is to the profession, of course, looking at the ACA Code of Ethics, we're called to really appreciate and respect other cultures, but also the mandate is that we don't impose our own beliefs and values onto our clients. So in order to do that, I think it's important that we have a self-reflection, some introspection, and it's a recognition as we self-reflect that we're in a position of power. And that doesn't necessarily mean, for me, I'm partially white. Obviously, my mother is white, my father Native American, and so I've been very privileged. And just being aware of that is hugely important in my learning endeavor. And so as I think about ways that I can open my mind and my heart to the disadvantages that others have experienced, my lived experience is different, gives me empathy, compassion, and I really look to that Good Samaritan example as a way that I can live out the example of Jesus and think about loving others the way Jesus intended, the way the Good Samaritan did. Also, I think from an advocacy perspective, we can take the examples of those devalued populations that we're serving, and the goal is to think about how we can galvanize others in our profession to prioritize cultural humility, getting involved in the community, and thinking about ways that we can affiliate ourselves with organizations that represent the disenfranchised populations that we are serving. All those things are important. The continued learning and incorporation of different non-traditional perhaps practices that are meaningful to people in populations that are culturally different than our own. So lastly, I'll just revisit the Good Samaritan parable and thinking about Jesus emphasizing the way in which we can love others, have compassion for others. And he told this story as a way to have believers understand that our neighbor isn't always someone who looks the same as us. So we can think about the Good Samaritan who was seen as an enemy of the Jews, and the way that others passed this person by who was dying on the side of the road and needed care, and the Good Samaritan provided that care, paid for that care, and it was completely different than the cultural norm of the time. So we can use that as an example and think about how Jesus can lead us into that self-awareness in order to love others the way he intended. Thank you.